part 4 of the 7 Sax Fundamentals. Now we're on articulation. Hey everybody, it's your fellow neighborhood sax fan Alex here. Articulation has been something that has dominated the woodwind world for centuries. The clarinet's way of articulating is far different from the way that alto saxophonists or saxophonists in general articulate. And that has nothing to do with the way brass instruments articulate, because it's a whole other beast. But we're going to focus on saxophone at the moment. Articulation on the saxophone is faceted in different ways of articulating. You can double tongue, triple tongue, singular tongue, slap tongue, and there's different ways to slap tongue. I have discovered that there is at least 3 ways to slap tongue, which is amazing. But even though there are so many different ways to articulate, we have to understand that we have to know how to properly articulate first before we venture out into the extended technique. Come to think of it, I kind of want to do extended technique. So stay tuned for that. In my early years as a saxophonist, I did not know how to articulate, and I was scared to try to practice articulation. It was one of those aspects of my playing that I kind of knew what I was doing, so I didn't bother trying to change anything or try to improve it, just let it be on its own. Little did I know that that was one of the most biggest mistakes I've ever made in my musical career. Again, this Sax Fundamentals series is all about creating a well-rounded practice session and a well-rounded saxophonist so that you have all of your fundamentals down so that the creative process is not limited to your ability to play. Early on, I knew I was articulating horribly. My tongue position was out of place. I was tonguing the reed with the tip of my tongue, which turned out to be really bad, and it also hindered my ability to play and articulate fast. So I will not do this with you. I will help you and hopefully prevent you from hurting yourself or doing anything wrong or making you practice the wrong way. So here are some helpful tips to help you articulate faster, efficiently, and better. The first thing that you have to realize is that tongue position is key. And what do I mean by tongue position? What I mean by tongue position is you have to make sure that your tongue is in the correct place when you make contact with the reed. With my hands, I will demonstrate my tongue versus the reed. So you have the reed here, and you have my tongue here. And what you want to do is to connect with the reed, make contact with the reed, slightly above the tip. There are many reasons why this has to be the way it is, but that is the correct way to articulate with the saxophone. If you articulate under here and kind of muffle the reed, that's not the proper way. It is kind of doodle tonguing in a sense, so extended technique, but I want you all to learn the proper technique before we get onto the extended technique again. I'd say about 1 centimeter at most above the tip of the reed. If you tongue with the tip of the reed, it might be a little awkward and this will affect the speed. So this is the best way to do it. So I would recommend doing the hissing technique. This again was brought to me by Gary Keller. I know I've said Gary Keller 10 million times on my channel, but he is an excellent educator in saxophone and in jazz. And he taught me the proper way to position my tongue so that I tongue and connect with the reed properly. So the hissing technique involves you and your airflow and your tongue in the right place. Basically, you're supposed to touch the reed and still let air through the saxophone, meaning that it's not about airflow, it's about your position on the tongue. And you just release, and there should be a tone. Remember to have the embouchure good, and you should be good. I will show you in a bit, so don't worry. This is about tongue position and correctly articulating. If you want to improve the speed of how you articulate, there are some great techniques. So what you want to do is start out with your low range, mid-high range, and high range, because articulating in these different types of ranges offers some different obstacles. One being the amount of pressure you put on the reed, the embouchure pressure that you might have going in the low and high extreme ranges, and so on and so forth. So it's good to practice this articulation exercise on all ranges so that you're comfortable in all the different ranges. So basically, you put your metronome at 60 to 80 BPM starting out, and you start going through all the rhythms, starting with 4/4 notes, then 8/8 notes, going faster and faster and faster until you go to your complete limit, take a break, go again from your low register to your mid register, and so on and so forth. So you get your whole entire range. Give it about a week and you should be smooth sailing for higher and higher tempos. So I'm going to show you these 2 techniques, so sit back, relax, and I'll see you in a bit. I hope you enjoyed these helpful tips. Articulation is one of those things that you just have to do. It can be tiresome, it can be really weird sounding. It's not the most comfortable, but once you know how to properly articulate, the extended technique will be so much more fun to deal with. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for all your standards, beats, and Sax Ed and Jazz Ed tips. Have a great week and stay saxy.